Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. I'm comedian Preacher Moss. I hope you're having a blessed Ramadan. Listen, I just want to take a couple of minutes of your time to talk about Olive Branch Muslim Family Services. You know, Olive Branch Muslim Family Services represents a lot in the city of Houston. You have a lot of relief organizations throughout the country, throughout the state, but I have to say Olive Branch Muslim Family Services is one for the home team of the city of Houston. Listen, let me tell you about myself. I've always lived this idea that I'm always going to have more blessings than I'm going to have problems. And in that space, I've been able to understand that the blessings sometimes mean I can be a blessing in somebody else's life, much the same with Olive Branch Muslim Family Services. Years ago, maybe 2 years ago, we had a video and it asked the question, the profound question, imagine if it wasn't an olive branch. Not so much the organization, but the absence of compassion and mercy. Imagine if there wasn't an olive branch. Not so much a question, but a reminder of a prophetic tradition that all of our prophets who have come came to advocate for the poor and uplift the suffering. Imagine if there wasn't an olive branch. Thinking about that. OBMFS. I changed the letters from Olive Branch Muslim Family Services and dug a little deeper thinking about that prophetic tradition. So Olive Branch Muslim Family Services is really Olive Branch's mission is family success. We need your help. While you're writing out that check, brothers and sisters, think about that. What's a world without compassion? What's good music without good instruments? What's a president that's distrustful and not honest? Okay, let me get back focused. In any event, imagine if there wasn't an olive branch. Let me remind you.
We just need help.
Imagine if there wasn't an olive branch. Muslim Family Services at your command. The people who help people have to say, we need your donations, don't delay. We all have struggles from time to time, but leaders dedicated is what you find. Before another person sheds a tear, support Olive Branch, you don't have to fear. Olive Branch Muslim Family Services. Action you can see, compassion you can feel. Sing it with me. Ooh. Ooh. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. I'm comedian Preacher Moss, host of the SOS, the ShOUT Show. Coming to you today. We're coming to you today on a pre-recording. I have an event to attend later today here in Washington, D.C., so please forgive me. It's done with the best of intentions, and I hope that this recording, this show gives you a lot of information, a lot of insight. I'm very excited to actually talk about it. Our subject is the importance of acknowledging the unseen. If you're going to study Jews 20 and you've been, of course, following through, doing your reading, keeping up on your reading, and just kind of catching up. You know, the concept of prophethood is this scope that these blessings, if you will, these mercies, if you will, come from the unseen, that a human being can't produce a prophet. A human being can't produce compassion, only can reproduce it. It's a feeling that has an aesthetic that we haven't figured out in years. It also has to do with how something makes us feel. The scope of how we love, the scope of how we learn, the scope of how we evolve, the scope of how we question. These are all natural aspects of human nature. But the idea of the unseen, in Arabic, al-Ghaib, Fut al-Ghaib, revelations of the unseen is something that's personally been, I would love to say, just something close and near and dear to my heart as a book, as same as Purification of the Heart, that we begin to understand the natural relationship, marriage, the interstitials of the human being's doubt, the human being's aspirations, and the human being's relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a beautiful thought, if you want to just be totally honest, a beautiful thought because it's not tinged by human judgment, human ideas or things like that, that we have to understand that these things come from a space that we can't see them. That the prophets that have been produced from Adam all the way down to Prophet Muhammad, may Allah be pleased and blessed with him, come from a space that we can't understand. That in our best efforts, we can't understand why that person is a prophet. That you were not there in the beginning to understand the goodness, to understand the choice and the accountability of these people that have come to us to inspire our souls and at the same time help us save themselves from the hellfire. So listen, our topic today is the importance of acknowledging, of course, the unseen. We'll be right back. Don't you move. This is Preacher Mars, the SOS, the Shout Out Show. And so we're back. Again, this is a subject that most of you have already talked about. I thought it was really, really important in the space that we're looking at Jews 20. This is our 20 day of fasting. We only have 10 days left. The last day is seeking protection from Allah. And that has so much to do with the subject matter that we're talking about today. Seeking protection. What are you seeking protection from? Think about that, hold that question. I'm going to get some love and a couple of quick announcements to all the shout out families, with the exception of Altaf. Everybody should have received your stipend for a virtual iftar. We're going to figure out the day here. I'm not going to make it on that night of power. It's going to be an even night, if you will. But we're going to, have a meal and tell us what you ate and what's going on with you, and have you on the show, inshallah. So everybody, Altaf, please go to permissiblelaughter@gmail.com. Let us know how we can get the money to you via MoneyGram, I believe is the way we did it last time. We want to make sure that you're taken care of. So let me go down the line. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Mama Son and Aunt Maxine and Miss Eleanor, the Golden Girl crew holding it down. I hope they're doing well. Peace and blessings be upon them. Very proud at the later rate of recovery that my mom is doing. I got to sit and observe one of her PT sessions. So go Mary. And go Aunt Maxine for being there and making sure that she's in the space, that she's in the cradle making. You're talking about sisters. In the late 70s, getting up and doing it for themselves. Very beautiful thing. Something that was heartening to me during Ramadan. It's number one. Number two is shout out to Miss Eleanor. Hope that you're getting better. Number three, remember everybody, this is a part of a process. This is our 20th day. And I would encourage everybody who's fasting, everybody who had intentions to fast, celebrate yourself. Please celebrate yourself. If you weren't able to fast, there's a reason for that. It means that your body had rights. Your body did something that you may not have even thought about, and that was protect you. And we're going to talk about that, why your body is important as well. Now, let me give some shout outs. Sister Reed, thank you so much for dinner last night. I appreciate it. It was amazing. Peace and blessings be upon you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you and your family. Also want to give a shout out to Brother Bilal and his queen, Sister Sonia Dalton Salahuddin. We hope that you guys are doing well. Peace and blessings to you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you and the family and those grandkids, those lovely grandkids. Shout out Johnny L. Thomas, better known as my little brother JT, always tuning in, a big supporter of the show. We appreciate you. We love you. Peace and blessings to my nephews and all my little nephews there. You know who they are. That's Justin, that's Jordan, that's Rachel. Peace and blessings to all you guys. And shout out to all the Thomas women. All right. We also want to make sure that I reach out to Brother Rashid. I hope that you got your stipend. I know you're in and out on the shout out show, but we'll put you down on the list. You signed up and we took care of you. Want to make sure I give a shout out again to Altaf Rashid. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for supporting us. Mr. 6 o'clock, straight up, straight down, our Canadian envoy to the show. Also want to give a shout out to my main man, Adam Khan, who's also in Canada. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ramadan Mubarak. My main man, Mark Kennedy. Want to give a shout out to you. Hope that you're doing well. Peace and blessings be unto you. Also, I want to give a shout out to my main man, Ejaz Saeed over at uh, Convenient Urgent Care. Always doing good work in that space, and I wholeheartedly support them. I actually have a video coming out telling you how much I support them because I am not only a person who talks about them, but I am a patient. I've been a patient of Convenient Urgent Care. So, that being said, man, I would love to get to the subject matter. So, the importance of acknowledging the unseen. In this last 10 days of Ramadan, we're asking for protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The interesting part is, as we ask for protection, you have to ask for protection from what? Think about this in two spheres. There's protection that you can see, and there's protection that you cannot see. There's protection you'll ask for in your visual, but there's protection that you'll ask for in your spiritual. The protection that you ask for in your spiritual is the unseen. If we see something, we can react. We can come up with a counter argument. We can we could counter punch. We can do all these things. But when you don't see them, you can't do that. The protection that you ask for in the seen space is something different because you see it. If you see a car coming down the road, you want protection from the car, you will do things and say, I'm not going to jump in front of the car. Protection from drugs is I see drugs around me, I'm not going to take the drugs. Um, Protection from uh, losing money. You will take steps to make sure that you don't lose money. You'll figure out a savings pattern, and that happens. But the larger scope that we ask for protection in the unseen is the fact that we don't understand, and sometimes we have to remind it, that time is not our own. That asking for protection in the unseen is something akin to a leap of faith, an expansion of belief that is in infinity. When you get sick, you can't see yourself internally when you get sick. You have to go to a doctor. And even that doctor can only examine what's happened, not necessarily how it happened, not necessarily if it's going to continue to happen. They can give you a prescription or diagnosis that tell you what's going on right now. But you could not see until that time, until you got really, really ill. Or there was some red flag that came up health wise. And when you go to the doctor, you're not necessarily going to the doctor just to get a cure. You're going to the doctor because you want protection from the illness. In this way, the unseen works for us because we ask God, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this protection that is a divine protection. Sometimes the protection that we ask for is protection from ourselves. There have been many times where I've asked for protection in the unseen so I don't run up on things. So I don't run up on certain particular temptations or arguments of certain people or attitudes or my own ego and arrogance. The guide in this space, and the beautiful thing that I want to make sure that I touch on, is that the protection is promised. And the more and more that you engage the promise, the more and more protection that you receive. Let me say it again. The protection is promised, but the more and more you engage the promise, the more and more protection you receive. You can ask for protection in the unseen in your salat, in your du'as. You can ask for protection in the unseen in regards to your health. We pray when our loved ones leave us. What do? We make dua for them in the unseen. We don't see them anymore, but we send salawat to them. We don't see Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, but we send peace and blessings upon him every prayer because this is a part of a narrative that's a divine scope. You know, I believe this wholeheartedly that the best aspects of my life, the solutions to my challenges, the things that lift heavy weights off my shoulder, my family's shoulder, the blessings for those have come from the unseen. That people I don't know had said something in regards to me and my family made dua for me. There are groups of people I work with, teams that I've been a part of. I'm working with a group right now Islamic City. Shout out to Islamic City. But when my mother was sick, they said we're going to make dua for my mother. I didn't see them do it. It was a verbal thing, but I didn't see them do it. But think about this. How many people made dua for you? I'm going to make dua for you. You don't follow them home, stalking them to see if they made the dua. Did you make the dua? You don't do that. And it's a beautiful thing because this is a space whereby we're not looking that we trust you to do what you said you were going to do. Get that promise is for the unseen. Hear me now. The promise for the unseen. That's why we don't need to see it. It's an unseen thing. You know, in Jews 20, I thought was really amazing is they talk about the ant and the spider, the surly the ant and the spider. And you look at one and you look at the other, they're both small creatures. But you think an ant is very minuscule, and they talk about this. But the ant has one of the most complex minds in developing structures that are well-meaning structures, that are hard structures, that are lasting structures that can provide protection. But then you look at the spider, and the spider has webs everywhere, and they look complicated, but they're flimsy. You could just knock a spider web down. The construction of the ant is extremely solid. You can't do it. And when you really get to think about it, our tradition has given us a tradition of understanding ants and understanding spiders, understanding Moses and understanding Pharaoh. Pharaoh thought he had the complexity of an ant, but he had the reality of a spider. And why did Pharaoh fail? Why did he fail? Because Moses could bring to light things in the unseen that Pharaoh could not even imagine. That he called to life things in this situation, I want to say this environment of the Pharaoh, that the Pharaoh couldn't reproduce himself. His magicians couldn't reproduce themselves. Throwing staffs on the ground. One turns into a snake, another one turns into a snake. But this snake eats the other snake. What is that drives us? Because I have to say this, and it's really important because the humility of our prophets allows a lot of people, and I would say the humility of good people allows other people to somehow backbite them, to somehow ask, why did they get a blessing? I didn't get a blessing. To somehow ask, well, I'm a better leader than you, but why did Allah choose you? Allah chose you because the decision was made in the unseen. You can't be a part of that growth process. Of all the technology that we have, of all of the fancy gadgets that we have, of all the smartphones, nobody can figure out the ingenuity to get to it. There's nothing that's created in creation that has not benefited from innovation off of an individual product, right? So the stones on the ground give the model for the wheel. The birds in the sky give the model for the airplane. Everything has a relationship. But once you go to the bird or the stone, here's the question. What was before them? The stone can't talk. The bird can't talk. And I believe it's a mercy that they can't. Because if they did, we would be so quick to take the innovation from them. We are the only species in creation to understand the narrative between the seen and the unseen. That being, we should be willing to educate ourselves. Prayer is a reminder of the unseen. Salat is a reminder of the unseen. Let me tell you how. The words that you use, the prescription that you use is I want to say it's not transactional, but then a transcendent use of language. That we pray a certain way. That Allah, as my good friend Imam Qasim Khan says, that Allah has ordered us to pray to Him for a certain way. That you have to say things for Surah Fatiha. You have to do these things in particular order, or the prayer is invalid. And what you notice Is because these things come from the unseen, that they were passed down to Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. As he didn't question, we don't question. As we sit in these lines on Fridays, we will do, and we pray and we make our salat. Nobody jumps up and goes, "Why are we only doing two rakats? I don't want to do two rakats," because if you did that, nobody would say anything to you. You may be disruptive, but you won't change the process that has been going on in a divine manner for years and years and years. Look, we're going to be right back here on the Shout Out Show. I want to give a shout out to my good brother Jordan Richter with Tarifa Altar. We'll be right back.
Tarife Atar. The scent of enlightenment. A gentle reminder that air, water, and fire indeed are life-giving essences. Appreciate the intersection of time and luxury. Magnify your essence. Tarife Atar.
All right. Shout out to my main man, Adam Ali, who actually put that ad together. I mean, I wrote the copy, but he put the ad together, man. And it really reminds me, talking about working in the unseen, we weren't even in the same room together due to COVID. We couldn't get cameras together. All of that's done by special effects and his imagination and scripting. So shout out to Adam Ali, a very, very talented filmmaker, editor, special effects guy. Love that guy, man. Shout out to your family. You know, throughout history, the people who have been movers and shakers, and I mean major movers and shakers, the kings, the Gandhis, all these people that we revere, the popes, and all these people that we really, really revere, our prophets, our saints. You know, the thing that's really, really interesting is that all of them at the beginning are played cheap. That the people that they want to serve or minister to play them cheap originally. That they spend a large majority of their prophethood trying to demonstrate to people that beyond this sight there is God, emphasizing the importance of the unseen. You know, Moses had people telling him, you know, where's God? Bring him here. In essence, bring God here for me. So you got on demand deities. The interesting thing is the growth of religion as it grows becomes more and more realistic because people understand that these people are very, very special people. And I think that we should draw from Jews 20 as they talk about the prophets and their traditions and what they went through in their lives and their journeys and their transitions, if you will, is the fact that it's so important for them in these spaces is that they must have faith. And the scope of them having faith and being connected to God means that if they can have faith, then we must have faith too. That we must endure hardship and trials and tribulations like those who went before us. Literally, we can talk about family tradition, family tree, Ancestry.com, 23andMe. What they are, brothers and sisters, are gateways to the unseen. It will only take you to a certain point. Records, pictures, registers, but it won't take you to who is protecting those who are in the records, pictures, and registers. That the connection of the divine soul is not ours. Something has to make it design. Something has to make it divine. We have to go through a process that legitimizes this fact that A, beyond our comprehension, beyond our consciousness, when we close our eyes and we don't open them anymore, we believe that there's a comfort that we're going to a place. Over and over, I have to say in Jude 20, it emphasizes that our prophets went through extreme hardships. And the people who followed them went through extreme hardships. But I think the thing that I would like to say, and I could be incorrect or not, I'm speaking from my own heart here, is that when they went through these extreme hardships, they knew that the people who were oppressing them were not people that they could go to for relief without giving up their faith, without compromising who they were. Meaning that they had to go to something beyond what they saw. So the nature of hope, the nature of aspiration, the nature of inspiration, not things that are tangible. If they're not tangible and you can't see them, then they're what? It means they're unseen. Acknowledging this phenomenon, acknowledging this prescript in our lives, in our religion, our understanding, and our relationships is a vital thing. And I'm going to even go a little bit further. Look at the world now. The world now is bent the other way. The world now does not believe in the unseen. Everything now with social media is about what you see and who's seeing you. Let me say it again. What you see and who's seeing you. We now replaced the unseen in some regards with the seen, which borrows from the unseen. That we look at something on Instagram, we look at something on Twitter. These are not moving things, they're videos, but they're replications. These are things that are, for lack of a better word, trying to engage us, if you will. Trying to engage us, but at the same time, they borrow from the unseen. I say it again, social media borrows from the unseen. That we will take things to heart and we will engage in things thinking that this is the way a person lives, or this is the way a product works, or this is how much money I have, or this is how famous I am, or we talk about views in a conversation about the unseen. We're talking about views. It's in a palatable juxtaposition with what I'm talking about now about acknowledging the unseen. See, watching a movie or watching TV is not the same as a book. When you read a book, it encourages you to bring to mind, to the forefront of your reading experience. It means that you have to dream a little bit. You have to delve into the way something looks because you can't see it. That you have a relationship with that author, or you have a relationship with that artist per se. And I think this is really, really important. And I want to frame this correctly. That there is fear. There is legitimate fear in America and the world of the unseen. That people can't see themselves in a space whereby they can't touch everything around them and make it tangible. That the scope of belief scares people. The scope of seeking redemption from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala scares people. The scope of praying to Allah, praying to God, and not praying to the system of society for what you need scares people. And they should be scared. You know why? Because the unseen ain't going nowhere. See what I'm saying? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. Take care of yourself. Got to get out of here. Again, shout out to Sister Satana. I'm gonna let you know that we had to pre-record today. I'll be back live tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Remember,